Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the great resignation and job uncertainty and how to actually create some certainty in your life. So I'm not going to go into all the details of the great resignation. If you haven't heard of it, just some really quick summary. Statistics are that Monster, which is a huge job reporting website, has recently reported that more than 95% of people are looking to change jobs. And more than 1/4 of people have left or changed their jobs within the last 4 to 6 months. And so you see these really big shifts and changes that are taking place in the workplace. And obviously, this is probably a catalyst of just so much that's happening worldwide right now. Obviously, there is tremendous uncertainty in so many different areas, in people's relationships, in people's distance, in people's, are they working from home or in the office? Are jobs opening or closing? And there's just so much taking place from the perspective of the job market. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sit here on this channel and tell you all about all the different facts and what you should do from that perspective, but I really do have some hopefully quite valuable advice to offer just from a psychological perspective about how to deal with uncertainty, and a really good exercise and sort of toolkit that you can use and keep in your back pocket if this is something that you are faced with. And I want to start by just prefacing here that sometimes change is uncomfortable, but change can be very good in the long run. And how we approach our relationship to creating change in our lives is really what's going to matter. I find a lot of people, when they make big life decisions, have a tendency, and I've been here myself, so I understand, but have a tendency of holding in and kind of pushing down, not wanting to face change, not wanting to look at things consciously and completely and gather all the information and then think it through and make the appropriate choices considering all the information. I find that a lot of times we'll repress our needs, we'll look the other direction, and then eventually the emotional impulse becomes so strong because we repressed it for so long that then we're sort of easy to fall prey to making snap decisions and being okay, I'm done today. I'm out of here tomorrow. And while that may be a great step that we take, obviously that's going to also create some chaos in our lives. And so what I want to talk about here is some steps we can take to get clear on if we are considering leaving a job or making a career change in our lives. Some exercises or steps you can take to get clear about that and how to most effectively do that and how to align with something that really shows up and meets your needs and where you're likely to be successful and thrive. And then I want to just talk a little bit about how to make an appropriate exit strategy so you don't have to get stuck in something where you make a snap decision and now you're worrying about paying the bills next month or not getting a job in general. So just covering a few of these bases here as a whole. I also want to just recommend, if you are struggling with uncertainty in your life in general, you can check out the link in the description box below. And we have a free 7-day trial to enter the school. And if you go into the webinar and social events area, there's a 2-hour webinar pretty much. It's an hour and 50 minutes. And it's all about how to create your own certainty in your life. So if you're struggling with uncertainty, it's this long form webinar to give you a ton of tips and tools. You can check it out for free for 7 days. And I highly recommend really giving yourself the opportunity to go through some of those steps and strategies. And there's a worksheet that follows with it in a different course that I recommend in the webinar. So check that out if that's something that you're struggling with whatsoever. So let's talk about this here. One of the first things that's important to recognize is just the mind and everything related to psychology will tell you, when your subconscious mind and conscious mind are aligned, you're more likely to be successful. You're more likely to be present. You're more likely to be focused. You're more likely to work outside of work. You're more likely to learn on your own time. And so you're just likely to show up better and feel more aligned and present in what you're doing. I was giving an example on a recent video, if you took me and so many of my personality needs as a person are related to personal growth and teaching and emotional connection and human behavior and all these things that I can sit down and make a video and be really into it and really enjoy it. And I can do a webinar and be really, really present and focused and get a lot out of it, and time flies. It's because my subconscious and conscious mind are really on the same page. Where we run into a lot of procrastination, self-sabotage, resistance to go into work in the morning, resistance in our lives in general, is when our conscious and subconscious are sort of rubbing against each other. When our conscious mind wants us to go to work, our subconscious mind is no, I don't want to do this because it's not aligning with my personality needs and what fills my cup. And so the analogy I often give is, if you took me with my personality needs, you put me as an accountant, well, that's an amazing job. For me, I would really struggle to be there. I'd want to talk to people about their lives and their attachment styles and their programming and their beliefs and, all these different things. And my conscious mind would be like, focus on what you're doing. My subconscious mind would be wondering about all these different things and thinking about them. And it's this constant like war, right? It's like you're always trying to focus on one thing and you're being pulled in another direction related to your unmet needs. And this is largely responsible for why we experience in our lives as people self-sabotage and procrastination. I have a full course about this in so much detail called Overcoming Self-Sabotage and Procrastination. You can check it out for free in the school as well, for the 7 days. So we've got like all these different dynamics. So what we know is that when we do get in alignment with what we need, we are better at it because of all these different things suddenly working for us, right? We can diminish and minimize procrastination, self-sabotage, resistance. I say this too, like self-sabotage, there's no such thing as self-sabotage. What's happening is your conscious mind intends one thing, your subconscious mind intends another. And we judge it as self-sabotage from the conscious level, but it's what it is. It's a subconscious strategy to get different needs met. That's literally what self-sabotage is. So it's like I go in to be the accountant in the workplace and I consciously intend to do that. And then I self-sabotage my position as the accountant because I'm going into work late. I'm trying to talk to people too much while I'm at work during the day. I'm thinking about other things. But what's actually happening is we're just judging it. And really it's actually feedback for us that, hey, we're being pulled in a different direction. And we will continue to be pulled in a different direction until we find really good ways of aligning our needs with our lives and our lifestyle. So that obviously has a lot to do with work. So we want to be really clear about this stuff early on because it can save us a lot of time. And when we are considering making a career change, one of the first things you want to do, step one, is get really clear about what you actually need. What needs are going to be met from work? What are you hoping to get met? What would your ideal situation look like? And we have to give ourselves a room to explore that and also to really learn about and identify our needs as human beings, like what our personality needs are. And we have another course for free you can check out, Discover, Embrace, and Fulfill Your Personality Needs, or your personal needs, but it includes your personality needs in the course. And that's also, if you just enter into the school, you can search it under the courses. So once we identify these different things and get clear about what our needs are, then we can start looking for things that line up with that. And it may have been taught to us for a long time and conditioned within us to be like, go get something stable. That's great if security is one of your highest needs, right? But if it's not, then we can get into something where we're always going to experience that resistance. We're just not going to show up as our best selves and really excel and get promoted and do new things long-term that can benefit us as individuals. So we want to get clear on what we need. We also want to get clear on our values. I find that it's really important to align ourselves with things that we believe in, that things that speak to us, that we feel good about supporting, because we are dedicating 40 plus hours of our week towards these different initiatives. So we want to be clear, are these things in alignment with us? And then we want to make a list and actually spend time brainstorming. What jobs would this be? What strategies would I have to come up with as an individual to obtain one of those jobs, to be in one of those places? It could be starting your own business, your own career, but you want to get really clear first on like the inside out. Like, what are my needs? What are my values? Then what lines up with that? That's a really important place to start. Then when we go into step 4 here, once you've got some of that information, you've got an idea, then you really want to create an exit strategy, in my opinion. I've been on both sides of the coin many times. I've been on many places where I just tried to stay through something that I didn't like. You end up self-sabotaging, and then you leave sort of impulsively. Have been there, done that. And I've been on the side of the coin where, I'm really motivated and love what I'm doing. And so you can really see sort of the difference when you've lived on both sides. And I think that when we make these impulse decisions, while it may be sometimes the very thing we need to do to actually take the next steps in our life, we can create a sustainable dynamic for us to leave from one thing and move into another. And what I think is really important is when we make an exit strategy, to be clear, like, what do we need to feel safe transitioning? Because when we go through life transitions, especially during uncertain times in the world, like nowadays, and what's sort of been experienced over the past couple of years, and we're not sure of the long-term effects of how that affects the economy and different structures in the world going forward into the next couple of years, I think it's really important to have that degree of structure in your life in some form. So an exit strategy will take that like all or nothing type of thinking and then living out of your life. And that looks like you deciding how much money you'd like to have saved, how you're going to get there, putting strategies and solutions. Do I need to budget better? Do I need to cut back on expenses? Do I need to save? Do I need to generate a second stream of income in the meantime to be able to take the next steps? Perhaps you're starting your own business, getting really clear about like the financial components so you have that degree of security. Then also looking at simultaneously, like, can I look for jobs while I'm in the current position that I'm in, right? And can I do that in a respectful way where to my employer, I'm still showing up for work and I still give a good bit of notice when I'm leaving. So it's, respectful, I'm respecting myself and my own needs at the same time. And I think the more you have a path where you're just going from one stepping stone till the other, you also make that transition a lot easier and you're likely to perform better, show up better, be more present when you do make that transition, as opposed to leaving a job, not knowing what to do next, and not having taken the time to really brainstorm about it ahead of time. So I think it's very valuable to like do the inner work, do the introspective work. If you have that pull or that itch to make a change, listen to it, focus on it, but don't just change. Do some introspection, figure out who you are, figure out why that's happening to you, what you can take away from that, map out a clear direction, go look for things that align with you, and then take the appropriate steps to support yourself in having the easiest time making that transition possible. So these are just some high-level tips. Obviously, there's so much more we could discuss about this. Please let me know anything else you'd like to see in the comments below, any questions you have related to any of these topics. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.